You're listening to the Stop Binge Eating podcast with Kirsten Sarfty, episode number 79. Welcome to the Stop Binge Eating podcast. It's time for you to end your food obsession and begin feeling confident and in control around food. You are absolutely capable of eliminating binge eating from your life, and I'm going to show you how by giving you simple tools and insights that you can apply in your own life. I'm your host, Kirsten Sarfty. Now let's get to it. Hi, you're here, and I'm here, and I'm another year older. Happy belated birthday to me. Yay for 38. My birthday was actually about a week ago as I'm recording this. It was January 22nd. Where are my Aquarians at? And it was such a fun day. I never work on my birthday. It is my day to do what I want, and that's what I did. And my boyfriend took the day off to spend it with me, which was awesome. And we went out to breakfast at a place where one of my oldest friends works. And we took the train into Boston. And the highlight of the day was going to the New England Aquarium. And you guys, it was a freaking blast. I hadn't been since I was little, and we'd gone there on field trips. And I gotta say, even as an adult, it was so much fun. Fish and penguins and seals and sea lions and turtles. Oh my goodness, I love them all. They are so fascinating and entertaining. I just love animals so much. And I love birthdays. 38 is not very exciting, but I feel good and I'm happy with my life. And I'm especially happy that I get to spend my days helping you all and creating less eating struggles in the world. And by the way, the world is showing up. I've worked with people all around the world: Australia, Ireland, England, Germany, Austria, Slovenia, just to name a few. And I don't know what's going on, but over the last couple months, people are requesting mini sessions in countries that I have not had anybody reach out to me from before. And it's been so fun. Turkey, Japan, Norway, Malaysia. What is up, ladies? Have I mentioned how much I love doing what I do and helping you all? I freaking do so much. Okay. Let's get down to business. Let's talk about calories. Some people I work with have no history of counting calories. Some do. And some are still struggling with not doing it because they're afraid of letting go of them, or they think it's the only way to manage their eating and their weight. And that's how I was. Counting calories has been the main tool that I used to lose weight back in college and for years after that. I continued counting off and on because I believed it was the way to lose weight. I also believed it would help keep me in check with my eating so I wouldn't binge. Basically, I was focused on what I was eating to try to help me to not binge, which obviously is not the way to do it. And I now know it's actually all about managing thoughts and feelings, as I've talked about in pretty much every episode of this podcast. So like I said, my calorie counting started way back in college. The first time I was ever serious about losing weight back in 2001. I don't even know how I found out about calories or where I first learned about them, but I do remember getting my tips for eating and exercising from the health and fitness magazines I'd read while working out on the cardio machines at the gym. So maybe there? I don't know. What I do remember is that I was being told over and over from different sources to not go below 1,200 calories because we need that many to live and for our bodies to function properly. And I also found a calorie calculator on the internet that would tell me how many calories to eat if I wanted to lose a pound a week, given my age, weight, height, and activity level. And I'm sure most of you have done one of those at one time or another. So I like math. So I was down to do some addition, and the calorie counting began. During that time, I was using a website I found somehow, most likely recommended from one of those magazines, where I could just input what I was eating and it would add up my calories. And I entered every single thing I ate. I was obsessed with it. Adding up my calories was how I determined what I'd eat and how much. Did not go by my hunger. I went by the numbers. I even remember my roommate and best friend at the time questioning my obsession with keeping track of calories. And I told her that if I didn't do it, then I would overeat. Basically, I thought I wouldn't be able to eat exactly what I need in order to lose weight if I wasn't being so systematic about it. I'd for sure eat too much and ruin my progress. I didn't trust myself, and I was so reliant on the math. This wasn't only during that period of time when I lost weight. This was just the beginning. Throughout the years between 2002 and when I stopped counting calories a few years ago, I was off and on, sometimes not caring, sometimes caring very much. Maybe it depended on where my frequently fluctuating weight was at or just where my motivation was at. What I do know is that I thought the best way for me to lose weight, maybe even the only way, was for me to count calories. It was the only thing that had successfully worked for me in the past, and I had such a strong belief in it that no one could convince me otherwise. Not that people were trying to convince me, but I'd hear things here and there about low carb and how a calorie isn't a calorie, and I didn't believe any of it. Counting calories had worked for me that one time in college, and there were times I lost some weight doing it over the years, and I didn't know a better way to manage what I was eating and to manage my weight. But the thing about all of it was that I did not enjoy doing it. I didn't like being a slave to the numbers. I liked having the guideline to follow. It helped me feel secure in my choices, but I didn't like having those being the guidelines. It wasn't how I wanted to be using my time, and sometimes it was a hassle, especially if I didn't have time to enter what I ate and then was concerned about how much I was going to eat later, or I was with other people and didn't want them to see me doing it, or if I wasn't able to find what I ate on the app, or if there were multiple results for the same food, which was the accurate one. There was so much thought going into this, and it was not where I wanted to put my thought. So I'm so happy that I found my way out and don't even consider them anymore. In the last few years, as my weight has been much more stable, there's been times when I've put on a little weight here and there, and I've been able to take it off in a way that I like so much better than counting. There has been 0 calorie counting. I even have no idea how many calories I eat on a typical day. Although I'm sure I could easily calculate them, probably just from my own knowledge if I wanted to, but I don't. Because I like my life so much better when calories aren't part of the equation when I'm deciding what I want to eat. And that's where I want to go with you in this episode. It's not about whether or not counting calories is an effective way to manage your eating or manage your weight. There's people out there who are die hard about calories like I used to be. And there are people out there who don't give a crap about them like I am now. And I'm not going to get into that debate here. This here today is about whether it's something you want to do. Consider what you want and what works for you, not just right now as you're still binging or wanting to manage your weight, but forever. Do you want to count calories for the rest of your life? Most people tell me that they don't when I ask them that. It's not how they want to spend their time and energy doing food math. And when it comes to choosing how you want to handle your eating at this point in your life, I am always an advocate for eating the way that you would be okay with eating for the rest of your life. Instead of counting calories until you get to your goal weight and then relying on your hunger and fullness then, learn to rely on it now. So if you don't want to be counting calories to know how much you should be eating, figure it out based on what your body tells you. Because really, are the numbers even correct? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not going to get into the debate about whether 1,200 or 1,500 or 2,000 is the correct number of calories for you to eat. But what if a calculator tells you a number is right for you and your body disagrees? What if your unique body with its unique composition would prefer more or less? There's so much information out there, so many opinions, so many studies, and so much contradiction. What's really great about being a human and having all this knowledge and research available to us is that we get to choose what we believe. And what sucks about this is that we get confused. How many calories is the right amount? I used to think I knew the right amount when I was counting, but there were so many times when I'd eat that many and still feel hungry, or I'd be too full, because it depended on how hungry I was and what foods I was eating. It's not just the number that matters. 500 calories of potato chips is going to fill you up differently than 500 calories of a salad with chicken and full-fat dressing. You'll be way more full after eating the salad. Proteins, fats, simple carbs, and complex carbs all fill you up differently. And you've probably noticed this for yourself. One of my favorite examples is cheesecake versus regular cake. How much cake could you eat versus how much cheesecake? Back in my binge days, I bet I could eat several slices of a regular cake. But when it comes to cheesecake, I wouldn't get nearly as far. The cheesecake is way richer and more filling. And why? Because it has more fat and more protein. You might even eat the same amount of calories of each, but you're still most likely going to get fuller on less calories eating the cheesecake than the regular one. Calories are not all the same when it comes to filling you up. Now, if you have been counting calories, how has it affected you personally? Has it helped you with your binge eating? And has it helped you manage your eating? For some people, myself included, it didn't really help all that much. It actually sometimes even led to binge eating. If I went over my calories for the day, I'd just say, screw the day, give up and binge. This didn't always happen, but it happened a lot. I was all or nothing. Either I stayed below my goal or I failed. Now, I was talking to one of my clients the other day about this, and she was saying how much of a failure she'd feel like if she even went over by a few calories. Seeing it say she was over 5 didn't feel good at all. And I mean, come on, it's 5 calories. What does that even do? And what about when you're approaching your goal for the day and you're feeling really hungry? Do you eat according to the numbers or according to your body? This question alone can cause so much confusion and indecision and stress. And again, it can lead to you going over your calorie goal if you choose your body. And then how will you feel? Not so great, probably. You want to eat like a normal person. Do normal people count everything they eat? Do they see food as food or as a number? If you want to rely on your body and not rely on math, there's going to come a time when you're going to have to make that transition. Will it be any easier to do it when you've hit your goal weight or when you've stopped binging? Maybe, but probably not. So why not just do it now if that's what you ultimately want to be doing? You can't build trust unless you let go and actually practice trusting. From what I know, the best way to begin doing this is by trying to eat as nutritiously as possible. If you're eating mostly a diet of whole natural foods like vegetables, healthy fats, unprocessed proteins, and limiting your sugar, flour, and simple carb intake, then it is unlikely you will gain a bunch of weight. I've known so many people who aren't naturally genetically thin who eat this way and are able to manage their weight pretty much effortlessly. I personally prefer to pay attention to what types of foods I'm eating, when I'm eating, and how I'm feeling. For me, this is how I want to decide what and how much to eat, not according to the numbers. To me, it actually feels way less restrictive than going by calories. I don't have to worry about going over a number if I'm feeling hungrier than usual. I don't have debates about whether or not to eat because I have too few calories left. Or if I have a lot of calories left and I'm deciding whether or not to just eat for fun to use them up or not. I categorize my foods with simple labels like protein, fat, grain, starch, not 100 or 300 calories. Yes, it may be scary at first to let go of counting, but sometimes we gotta do the scary things if we want to change how we do things. I know you may have a fear about not counting calories while you're still binging and not knowing exactly how many calories you're eating the day after a binge, but honestly, does it really matter? Has knowing this information helped you at all as you've tried to stop binge eating? I know a lot of you pick a number to go by that's quite low the day after a binge, and you end up restricting in a detrimental way that leaves you feeling far too hungry and can lead to another binge. So what if you forgot about that number and planned your day in a way that will bring you back to normal? Whether you restrict or eat an adequate amount in the days after your binge, your body will eventually balance itself out. If you binge and then eat adequately for the next few days, you're not going to continue to gain weight. That just doesn't make sense. What it all comes down to is that whether you binge or not, and whether you're trying to lose weight or not, however you're eating should be however you'd be okay with eating forever. So, is calorie counting effective? As a whole, the answer depends on who you ask and what research you read. But I think an even more important question is whether or not it is effective for you personally. Do you like doing it, or do you find it to be a hassle? Does it help you or hinder you? Does it actually make a difference with your binge eating, or does it sometimes drive you into a binge? Do you want to do math with your food, or do you want to see food as food? There are so many different methods out there trying to teach you how to eat. People are counting calories, counting macros, using portioned containers, giving specific meal plans and menus, using ridiculous restrictions that you really don't want to follow. So what I say is, do what you want and do it now. Don't wait, and don't let fear stop you. Decide what you want to be the deciding factors for your eating and practice eating that way now. Are you going to be perfect at it? Probably not, but you'll only get better if you try and if you're consistent. So go do it and have a fantastic week. I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to the Stop Binge Eating podcast. If you like what you heard today and you want more, go to coachkir.com/free. That's COACHKIR.com/free to get some awesome free stuff to help you stop binge eating.